talk about something. So like a seminar you did yesterday.
You're on.
Okay, so we're on.
Yes.
So どうも皆さんこんばんは. Hi guys, good evening. I'm your host Salem, and here's our co-host Omuro-san. So Omuro-san, so how's it doing?
I'm sorry.
How's it going?
Yeah, everything's going well. I just got back to Nagoya from Tokyo. I'm in Tokyo this weekend, I was giving a talk on pronunciation, English pronunciation. We mentioned this on the special we did last couple weeks.
Right. You did.
So I did a talk on pronunciation, and everybody seemed to enjoy it. And you showed up at the dinner party afterwards. So thank you. Nice to see you. Yeah. So I have actually, since we have finished our series on pronunciation, I guess it was 2 months ago we did our last talk on pronunciation on this show. I've also learned more. I mean, I shouldn't say I've learned more, but I've figured out more about how I pronounce English and how other ways that I've been able to show people how to speak, how to pronounce English. So maybe someday we should do another episode on pronunciation.
Wow, sounds good. That's good.
Right.
Yeah. So you could improve your ideas. So that
other people can learn. Yeah. So all of listeners right now can learn from some of the new ideas that I've come up with, and also I've learned from other people.
Okay.
I'd like to share them with people.
Oh, that's good. I can hear some sounds, like email sounds on your computer or something.
Email?
No, I can hear something sound.
I'm thinking maybe you're hearing the chair squeaking. No?
No. I can hear on your side something is ringing, like email sound or something. Twice. I heard twice. But it's okay. Just turn it off.
Tell me if you hear it again, because you shouldn't be hearing anything, but tell me if you hear it again.
Okay, got it. So let's get started. So what are we going to talk about tonight?
We will talk about, first, we want to kind of give another rehash on critical thinking, what it is, why it's important, and then I want to give some examples on how to think logically correctly. Just a couple examples, and I don't want to make things too difficult, but I'd like to give some examples.
Right, so that we can enjoy, and so that we can understand
using English.
So as I mentioned on Twitter, so we are going to talk about in Japanese en'ekiho, like deductive logic.
Deductive,
Deductive logic. So we also say in our daily lives like a top-down logic, right? Top-down logic.
So that's the opposite of inductive reasoning.
Right.
Which we're not going to do yet. We'll do much later, maybe. Or I think it's important to do deductive reasoning first, because that's just the basis of everything.
Yes.
Right. Okay. But first, a couple things about critical thinking. I've probably mentioned this before, but critical thinking is about asking why things are things.
Right. Funny though.
Right. You have to question the way people do anything. You have to question the way that you think yourself. For example, let's say you believe something strongly, but you have to once in a while think about that and ask yourself, why do I believe this? Sometimes you don't even realize you're believing something, and you have to take it apart and notice that you believe something. These are things that are just skills that you need to acquire. They're not very easy to do, I guess. They're habitual, and even I notice myself sometimes. I would be in a habit and I wouldn't even notice. But it's very important to realize I have a habit of doing something this way. And when you realize that, you want to think about, well, is it a bad habit or is it a good habit? And why? Yeah, and it's not just about habits. It's about things that occur in daily life.
Right. And so at the same time, the reason why I do this is that this should be very important, especially for Japanese people, right?
Yeah, right. One of the reasons is that I think in many other countries you actually learn a lot of this in school.
Yes, that's a point.
It seems that many people have not really got much training about this in school, and what ends up happening is you end up learning on the job. You know what I mean? Like you are once you have an occupation, once you have a job that requires this kind of thinking, then you learn it on the job. The job will train you or something. And what that means is you have a bunch of people who have just never end up getting this training.
Right.
It's sort of like, it's actually similar to how there's a lot of people who end up studying English, but they never really get good at it because they don't really need it in their daily lives, right? And then the people who really need it, they get the training when they need it.
Right.
That's what it seems. So it's kind of similar to that. And just like all of us who study English, all of us who study English really know that once you acquire English as a skill or as an ability to communicate, once you're able to share your thoughts with people in English, or you're able to understand people who share their thoughts in English with you, it just opens your horizons, right? You can speak with more people, they can understand you, and all of this stuff. In the same way, critical thinking, when even though you might not be accustomed to it now, or maybe you are, but when you acquire the skill, you will realize that it helps you understand the world better, and helps you understand yourself better, helps you understand everybody else better, and so on.
Yes, exactly. So in a nutshell, so ask yourself why. そう、今、大室さんが言ってたのは、そのクリティカルシンキングっていうのがどうして大事なのか。で、日常の中で、なんていうかな、日本人、僕がさっき言ったのは、結局、日本人、僕らって、なんかこう、何も考えずにしてることって多いんですよね。なんかこう、なんでこうしなきゃいけないのかって問われたりすると、なんか意外と、いや、それはなんかみんながやってるからとか、いや、なんか特に考えたことないとかっていうことが多かったりして、そういうことが日常的に行われているということを、僕自身がその英語を学んでから気づいたということもあって、これを皆さんとシェアしたいなというのが強い僕の思いです。なので、大間さんはずっと今、英語でお話ししてます。で、基本的に英語で進んでいきますけど、もし分かんないことあったら何か質問してください。クリティカルシンキングっていう僕らが日本で学校では特に習わなかった物事をジャッジしていく。で、問いただしながらこう判断をしていく。そして正しい結論に自分自身を導くというスキル、考え方、思考、ロジックを、今日は大室さんと一緒に、お話ししていこうという内容で進めていきます。Okay, let's get started again. Okay, so Omuro-san, go ahead.
Yes, okay.
I'm jungled with the explanation.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay. So let's see. So often when we are thinking about things, you often I'm sorry, as you just explained, we don't sometimes think about why we do things, right? We don't think about it, and like you said, it's because somebody else does it. That's a very good chance. That's a very good opportunity.
Yes.
Whenever you notice something like that, it's a very good opportunity to question that. And one of the very important things about thinking is to figure out what the essence. Essence. Do you understand essence? What's a good word for essence in Japanese?
Essence はなんだろう、必要不可欠なものというか。
It's like when you have some phenomenon.
Phenomenon.
When you have some phenomenon, what is at the core of that? What is actually causing it? Do you understand? Oh, I know.
本質というか。
Yeah. 本質 is. So, it's to think about what that is. What is the essence of what's going on? That is very important. So sometimes you have to look at the phenomenon. I say phenomenon a lot because that
Mhm.
works with natural things or things done by people. But you have to look at it from various angles.
Mhm.
You can't just look at it from your point of view. You have to look at it from other people's points of view.
Right.
You might actually have to look at it from a different,
Right. From an objective viewpoint.
correct, yeah, somebody not even involved. And it will help you get to that essence, get to the core of things.
Right.
In a sense, this is actually close to being philosophical about something, because philosophical is also about, philosophy is also about getting to the core of things, right? Okay, and the logic that we want to talk about is just one of the tools you can use to get there. Another thing that is important with critical thinking is why we need critical thinking. Why do we need critical thinking? And one of the reasons is for actually for self-defense.
Oh, sounds interesting.
Yeah. Do you know how? Imagine other things you do for self-defense. Like some people take martial arts, like karate.
Like a physically. Yeah.
That's, it would be very nice if the world was full of nice people, but once in a while, you're walking in a dangerous part of.
There must be some mean people.
Mean or
like dangerous guys. Right.
And they come, and it would be nice if you knew a way to protect yourself, right? You should be able to protect yourself in that case.
Right.
Or don't go to those bad areas. Yeah. That's actually a very important thing, to avoid bad areas, right? And those are things you can do for self-defense physically. But being able to logically defend yourself is also very important.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's say you have a claim. Okay, I want to tell everybody. Like, for example, often I would be talking about pronunciation, and I want to tell people that, hey, look, this is how you do things, and it'll work. And then somebody will want to attack that. Somebody will say, I don't agree with you. And I have to be ready to defend my position. And that's an example of critical thinking. Just being able to have the skills to logically win the argument. Yeah.
So are you asking viewers? Just general.
Yeah, just generally speaking.
Right.
Maybe some of our listeners have understand that. Maybe they've come across a situation like that.
Right. So let's take a moment to let people know, and let people think about it. What you said. 今その大室さんが言ってたのは、さっきそのフェノメナンとか本質とかって言ってたのは、結局たくさんの物事起こりますけど、結局本当のそのコアのパートを見つめて、何が結局原因なんだ、何が物事の本質なんだっていうところをしっかりなんていうんだろう、見極める力、そして様々な角度からアプローチすることで正しい結論に導けるように、哲学的に同時にね、思考にも似たアプローチをとって、たどり着くためのスキルをっていうことで、クリティカルシンキングというのがあるんだよって。で、さっき肉体的には格闘技とかでね、体を守れるけれども、例えばいろいろインターネットで悪口書かれたりとか、ツイッターとかなんかわかんないですけど、いろいろいや、お前は間違ってるとか言われたりしたときに、じゃあどうやって、肉体的にではなくて、ロジカルなものとして自分を守れるかっていうことですよね。皆さんだったらどうやって、もし皆さんがなんか、例えばね、最近ツイッターで、クソリプとか言って、大室さん、you know クソリプ
I actually have never heard that.
Right, like a bad response.
Okay.
I don't know. なんかなんか言ったら、いやいや、それは間違ってるよとか、なんか全然知らん人からなんか言われたりとか、ツイッターですごく怒ったりして、なんか最近クソリプとか言ってね、I know that's a bad word. なんかそう言われたりするんですけども、例えばね、皆さんがそういう状況になったら、どうやって自分を守れるかっていうことを考えてみるのも一つ クリティカルシンキングじゃないでしょうかというお話を今しておりました。
Actually, that's kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever someone attacks you like that,
Mm.
sometimes it's a good conversation. Like sometimes I'm saying something, and maybe you have a question about it, or somebody else wants to give me constructive criticism about it.
Right.
And that's good. And we should talk about it, and we should make things better.
Yeah. So I find it a good chance.
Yeah.
And at the beginning of the conversation, in order to to make it productive, and it makes the conversation productive, so we can create something, so we can get to the conclusion through the conversation. So
also everybody can learn. Like I might learn something from that, and you might learn something new, and we all advance.
Yes, we can't miss a chance.
Right. But sometimes you're right. Somebody will just make an attacking comment just because. And in that case, one of the options is, it's very similar to when I was saying earlier, you just don't go to the bad part of the city, right? You just don't listen to them. You ignore them. That's one of the ways to handle the situation.
Yes.
Because if the way Twitter works is very nice, because if you don't listen to somebody and that person is a nobody, then nobody can even see that original attack. But the more you respond, the worse it gets.
Worse.
Yes.
Right.
Twitter's a very interesting community. So if a nobody attacks you, the best way to handle it is sometimes to not handle it. Right. I think that's very similar to not going to the bad parts of the city. When I was saying earlier,
Yeah.
Okay, so can we maybe we can start talking about some logical examples of things.
Yes. Okay.
So there's two types of logical ways of thinking that I want to talk about today.
Okay.
One of them, I'm sorry.
Okay. So today we have no slides. So,
right, we have no slides.
I want viewers to listen to.
It's not a lecture. It's just that we want to just discuss.
Yes.
And I want to talk about my ideas, and I would like to hear your ideas as well. It's not a. We often did lecture stuff with pronunciation, but I want to do it differently this time. So, so let's discuss about these things.
Yes, right. And let's focus on what he says.
Yes.
Right. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think technically I just said discuss about, and I think that's wrong. You're supposed to say discuss something, but in case somebody has a question, I think discuss about is sometimes acceptable in conversation. And you hear it from time to time. Technically, you should not say it.
Okay.
Anyhow, let's talk about contrapositives. That's a big word, contrapositive.
Contrapositive.
Contrapositive, okay? Contrapositive is when you know something for sure, or if you have something that is known as a if this then that. That's a very common kind of logical step. Is when you have a condition. It's also called a hypothesis. You have a condition or a hypothesis, and then you have a conclusion.
Right.
Okay. Let me give you an example. If I win the lottery, I will go on a trip.
Okay.
I like that, right?
Right.
No, listen. If you win the lottery, you'll go on a trip, right? Most people.
I think so. Right.
So let's say that I win the lottery, then I go on a trip. Okay. Think about what that could mean. There's two things. There's winning the lottery, and there's going on a trip. That's the two things I'm talking about here. And I'm saying if I win the lottery, then I will go on a trip, no matter what. Okay. That's my claim. Okay. Then what happens if you don't win the lottery? Does that mean you're not going on a trip? Well, it doesn't mean that. I never said that if I don't win the lottery, I'm not going on a trip. I only said that if I go on a trip, then I will go to the lottery, okay? If I don't go on a trip, if I don't win the lottery, then I won't go on the trip is not necessarily true. Okay. But, see, this is sort of, this is what's interesting.
Okay, got it.
I'm sorry if it's complicated. I just want to...
complicated.
Okay. If I win the lottery, I will go on a trip. If I didn't go on a trip, then I did not win the lottery. That is the contrapositive. The contrapositive is when you say the result did not happen. That means the condition didn't happen either.
Right.
That's the contrapositive. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make it sound so complicated.
No, it's okay. Like, not vice versa.
Yeah. Not vice versa. It's if I have this, then that, then not this means this didn't happen.
Okay, let me explain.
Yeah.
What you said to viewers. It's kind of complicated. So, 今、大室さんが言ってたその、コントラポジティブっていうのは、日本語ではなんて言うんだろう。I don't know the technical word. Sorry?
対偶。
対偶?
対 is,
対立 is 対, right?
Yeah, and then
なんか対立、なんて言うんだろう。対立構文とかいうのかな。なんか、その、例えば大室さんがさっき言ってたのは、宝くじが当たったら、旅行行きます。でも、逆は成立しない。だから、旅行に行かなかったら、宝くじが当たらない。
当たらなかった。
当たらなかった。
This is excuse me. That is always true because you have promised that if you win the lottery, you will definitely go on a trip. That's a promise. So if I didn't go on a trip, that means I did not win the lottery, and that is.
そうか。当たったら、旅行に行くっていう前提で、逆にその旅行に行かなかったとしたら、なんだ、宝くじが当たらなかったっていう証明にはならないっていうことですね。今言ってるのは。
No. It is. That is logical. It does prove that. If you did not go on a trip, then you did not win the lottery. And this is valid. This is valid.
そういうことか。だから、旅行に行かなかったら、当たらなかったということも同時に証明してるっていうことか。OK。そう、じゃあ、あれだよ、not vice versa じゃないや。
The not vice versa part is, if I don't win the lottery, then I don't go on the trip, is not true.
Right. vice versa っていうのは逆もまたしかりっていうことですね。
That's not true. Or not necessarily true. It could be true, but it's not necessarily true. So, I want to give you another example. If it's raining, I will bring an umbrella. If it's raining, I will bring an umbrella. That's a promise. That's like you said zente earlier. Zente is premise.
Premise, right.
And I think we could say that. So the premise is, if it's raining, I will bring an umbrella. If it's raining, I will bring an umbrella, right? So, if I don't bring an umbrella, that means it didn't rain. That's logical, right?
Right.
So that's contrapositive, and that's all I want to talk about right now. The only thing I want to say is, if this, then that, then if this doesn't happen, then this didn't happen. Yeah, very simple because there's only one thing. This, then this, and then not this.
なんか専門用語で言うと、間質間意って言うんですって。
Okay. Great.
間質間意ってなんかちょっと難しい漢字を書くんですけど、Let me write it down.
You can tweet it.
Yeah, but some people are not following me. 間質間意。So that viewers can see the situation later.
Okay.
間質間意。
Whoa.
っていうふうに書くんです。で、この論理法の一つ、コントラポジティブ、間質簡易っていうそうです。専門用語では。でも僕も見たことがないです、こんな言葉。まあでも、
That's good. I learned something new. So when do you use this?
In our daily lives.
Yeah. It's really important. Okay. It's often used when someone promises you something, or maybe not promises you, but if you know something is gonna be, if this happens, then this will happen. You can look at the outcome. If the outcome didn't happen, you know that the premise didn't happen. Yeah. That's the way you use this. And when you think about something, when you do critical thinking, you are thinking about something. You will notice sometimes you are looking at. That's the hard part about critical thinking. Is involved.
Right.
So many things involved because you have to think. You have to take apart what you're thinking about and take it apart into all the little pieces.
Yes.
And logically connect them.
Right.
And you will notice that this piece of logic does not work, and then the entire thing does not work.
Yeah.
That's how you disprove something.
Right. Disprove. これは正しくない、これは正しいっていうパートごとにしっかり判断をして、正しいロジックを作り上げていくと。
Let me give you an example. For example, let's say you have a crime scene. Crime scene.
犯罪現場。
Yeah, you have a crime scene, and there's a suspect.
Okay.
The suspect has to be there to commit the crime, right?
Right.
That's the premise. The premise is okay. Let's say it's like a murder, and then murder, right?
Yeah.
So the suspect commits the murder, so the suspect has to be there. That's the premise.
To kill someone.
Right. So in order to prove that he didn't do it, what does the suspect, or maybe he or she, whatever, but in order to prove that the suspect, in order to prove that he or she didn't commit the crime, what must be done? The suspect has to prove that he was not there, or she was not there.
Right.
And that's called an alibi.
Right.
Right? By proving that the person was not here, you are also proving that she did not commit the crime. Because the premise is that I am there, I can commit the crime.
Right. Oh, that's a good question. That's a good example.
Good example,
Very
right?
easy to understand. Yeah.
So, in order to commit the crime, person commits the crime, that means the person was there.
Okay.
If the person was not there, the person can't commit the crime.
Now I fully understand.
That is controversial.
皆さん今の分かりました？多分すごくいい例というか、すごく分かりやすい。さっき言ってた間質簡易。だから犯罪がもし起こったとしたら、その犯人っていうのは結局その現場にいないとその犯罪にコミットできないわけだから、まずその容疑者が結局犯人じゃないよっていうことをしっかり証明したかったら、さっきおもさんが言ってたアリバイ、そこにもともといなかったということを証明できれば、逆もまた証明できる。そこにいなかったんだから犯罪には関わってないということも同時に証明できると。だからこういうシチュエーションで今話している、コントラポジティブっていうのは使えると。We can apply the idea to our reality.
Yep.
Right.
So in this case, it's important. To commit the crime, you have to be there.
Yes.
If I'm not there, I can't commit the crime.
Yes.
That's contrapositive.
そう、犯罪に関与するためにはそこにいないといけないわけだから、そこにいないんだったら僕は関係ないよということがちゃんと証明できると。
That's the contrapositive.
わかりやすい。非常に僕は今ピンときました。Rings a bell.
Let's see if there's any other idea, or actually any tweets here. Any other examples that we can think about?
Okay.
for example, let's say that I want to enter a. Are you okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Checking.
Let's say that I want to enter the airport.
Okay.
I want to get on an airplane.
Mhm.
International flight.
Okay.
Anybody, you were in the Philippines not too long ago. So
The other day, right?
if you go on an international flight these days, you have to prove that you're not
America or
you can't be carrying anything dangerous, right?
right.
So if you are carrying anything dangerous, if you're carrying anything dangerous, you can't get on the plane. Right? If you're if you're carrying scissors, you can't get on the plane, right?
Right.
If you're carrying this, you can't get on the plane, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
It
so
depends on the quantity.
it depends on the quantity. Actually, it actually also depends on the country you're going.
I got it. Yeah.
But right. But let's say in most places you're not allowed to bring like a knife. You can't bring a knife on an airplane, right?
No.
Okay. So here's the condition.
Mhm.
If you bring a knife, you can't get on the airplane.
Mhm.
Okay. So what's the opposite of you can't get on the airplane? I'm on the airplane. So if I'm on the airplane, that means I didn't bring anything dangerous. Right. So that's another example of contrapositive. Right. If you have something dangerous, you can't get on the plane. If you're on the plane, you didn't bring anything dangerous.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's a contrapositive.
Really true. Yeah, easy to understand. 今、大室さんが言ってたのは、飛行機に乗るためにっていう話ですね。国際線とかですね、飛行機でこの、ピコーンってなるやつ。僕らが、さっき大室さんが言ってた、この、何ミリだったか忘れたけど、まあ、水とか、まあ、それは国によるっていう話してたけど、そのナイフとか、なんて言うんだろう、英語でhazardous things、なんか危険物とかを持ってたりすると、飛行機に入れないと。逆に言うと、さっきのね、コントロールポジティブで言うと、飛行機に乗ってるってことは、逆に言うと、そういう危険なものは持ってなかったよってことは証明できると。っていうことを今言ってます。非常に、わかりやすい。というか、本当に非常にロジカルな考え方で、僕たちが日本語であんまり考えるときに、あんまりやっぱりそういうフィルターを通さない考え方だなって僕は非常に思いますね。ので、
One thing that's interesting about English, the language English is actually better fit for this.
That works.
English, and I'm not just saying English is the best because there's other languages that do this too.
Yes.
For example, anything from Europe. I'm sure there's other languages in other places too, but it's kind of difficult to do this in Japanese just because of the grammar. Japanese is good at certain things, and it's not good at this particular one. Yeah. And English has an awesome word called because.
Right. You really use that.
Right. You can say, I'm on the airplane because I was not carrying anything dangerous. But how do you say that in Japanese? You have to use the word nazenara or something like that.
だってとか。
That forces you to use two sentences.
まあ、飛行機に乗ってるってことは、とか。casual way? In a casual way. まあでもやっぱりね、なぜならとか僕ら日常会話ではあんまりね、we don't say that.
But in English, you're always saying because this, because that.
Yeah. American people.
Those same words exist in European languages. Like in French, it's parce que. But it means because.
Because.
You say what happens and then parce que, and then the reason. And you do that in English, this because that. And all the other languages, Spanish, Italian, German, they all have this, but in Japanese, it's a little bit awkward to do.
Kind of.
It might be one of the reasons we're not used to doing it. I can't prove it, but it might be.
Yeah, it could be. So Western people say because a lot. in a daily conversation.
Yeah, yeah.
But we rarely use that. まあ、あんまりね、英語ではやっぱり言いますよね、すごくみんな。I did it because とか、なんかこう、なんとかなんとか because って、すごく言うけど、なんて言うんだろう、僕ら、日本語であんまり言わないんですよね。なんか、いや、昨日ちょっとこうやって、なぜならとか、あんまり言わない言語。だからさっき大村さんが言ってたのは、英語が別に世界で別に一番優れた言語とは言わないけれども、少なくとも日本語よりは、こういうロジカルに考える、思考のプロセスに英語っていうのは非常に合ってると。だから、そういう意味ではやっぱり僕ら日本人が英語を学ぶ、第二言語として学ぶっていうのは非常になんかこう、なんか一つの、なんかこう、ですね、one of the good reasons.
Yeah, and please, like you said, I'm not saying that English is a better language. Yeah, I mean, I know Japanese, and Japanese is really good at doing certain things.
Right. Each language is great.
Each language has their own really good things.
Right. それぞれに言語は素晴らしい。
Japanese is really nice, like for example, because just from the context, like there's honorifics and things like that. That just by listening to the words, you can tell who's older, or you can tell, who's probably a man or who's probably a woman. You can get all this stuff from reading a script.
Right.
But English, you can't do that.
Right.
So that's what I mean. So Japanese is good at conveying certain contextual information.
Like convey.
Right. But English is better at this kind of logical structuring. And so every language is good in their own way, but I'm just saying for this kind of thing, English is probably nice.
And works.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So that's contrapositives. Okay. So can I go on to the next one, or?
Okay, yeah, let's go on to the next one. I really understand, and I hope everyone understood.
The next one is called a syllogism.
Syllogism.
Yeah, syllogism.
How do you spell that?
Syllogism is S-Y. Actually, yeah, S-Y-L-L-O.
L-W-L-O.
G-I.
G-I.
S-M-S.
S-M-S. Syllogism. Okay. Syllogism. Is it correct?
Excuse me. Yeah. The S at the end is plural, so it's the singular.
Just syllogism. Okay.
Yeah.
Correct.
I'm gonna tweet both words.
Okay.
Also.
I'm gonna retweet.
Okay. Okay. So what's a syllogism? A syllogism is, I was in Japanese. It's actually the
三段論法.
Yeah, 三段論法.
三段論法ね.
That's actually kind of famous, right?
Right. Very famous.
The most famous 三段論法 is excuse me.
我考えるゆえに我あり or something like that. I don't know.
That's actually not a syllogism, but I like that. And maybe not today, but we'll talk about it sometime. All men are mortal.
Yeah, right. That's a famous one. Yeah. All men are mortal.
That's the first one.
Right.
Socrates is a man. Therefore, Socrates is mortal.
Right.
Does everyone know what mortal means?
Mortal. mortal, M-O-R-T-A-L, モータルって非常に日本語にないのでちょっと難しい言葉なんですけど、死ぬ運命にあるというか、なんか全員死ぬよね。All men are mortal. 全員死ぬ運命にある。So how do you explain that word in English? In your words?
It's kind of interesting, but the opposite of mortal is immortal. And immortal means that the thing never dies. It also usually means it was never born. It has always been there, and it always will be there. That's immortal.
So
and it's often applied to like godly figures.
I don't know that word.
Godly or immortal.
Godly. Godly.
Godly means like
godly.
Yeah. For example, if you're talking about like Zeus or Greek gods or something, Greek gods are immortal because everything that's humans and animals and everything that's alive is going to eventually die.
Right.
Like everything will die.
Yes.
But the gods don't. Depending on the mythology, sometimes they can kill each other, but usually mortals cannot kill immortals.
Okay. Oh, I got it.
So it also, when you say something is mortal, it does mean that it will die, but it also kind of feels like we mortals are a lower being than the immortals. It feels like there's a line, like a hierarchy. It feels like there's a line between mortals and immortals. Immortals are higher beings, like gods, and we have people and gods. That's sort of like the line between mortal and immortal.
Oh, that's a clear line.
Yeah.
Between.
And you'll have in these myths, people want to become immortal, right? So they drink these potions and things, and they wish they can become immortal.
Right.
And that also usually means they don't age anymore.
なんかあれなのかな、we could say that in Japanese, なんか不老不死みたいな。
Yeah, it's similar to that.
不老不死でね、永遠の命みたいな。なんか live forever.
Yeah. So immortal means that.
Yes.
And then mortal
you
will.
Opposite meaning.
The mortal starts with the M-O-R-T, mort. And there's a lot of words in English that have that mort in there that have to do with death. Have you heard of the word like mortician?
Mortician, right.
Or amortize?
Amortize,
Amortize, yeah. It means for something to decay. So a lot of the time it comes from this word, mortal.
So many.
Actually, mortal comes from the Latin word death, which is actually just mort, M-O-R-T.
Like more.
M-O-R-T, yeah. And that's where this word comes from, but it has to do with death. So, sorry, we're digressing.
Let's get back to where you were.
So remember, all men are mortal. Socrates is a man. So Socrates is mortal. Okay. This is often said as A equals B, B equals C, and then A equals C, right? In this example, though, B equals C is presented first. Men are mortal, B equals C. And then Socrates is a man, A equals B. And Socrates is mortal, so it's A equals C.
Yeah.
That's a very common way to present this.
Right.
Earlier, remember I was saying that the thing with if I win the lottery, I will go on a trip. If I go on a trip, I will go to Egypt. I don't know.
Right. Wow. Very good.
Okay. If I win the lottery, I will go to Egypt. Okay.
Makes sense.
So that's a syllogism because if I win the lottery and I will go on a trip, that's a premise. I'm promising that. And if I go on a trip, I will go to Egypt. I'm also promising that. That means if I win the lottery, I'm going to go to Egypt.
Right.
Yeah. That's a syllogism.
Very true.
It's a stupid syllogism, but it's still a syllogism. I mean, I shouldn't say stupid, but it's a very simple, not realistic one, but it's still a syllogism. All right.
Okay. 皆さん、大丈夫ですか？多分、ちょっと難しい単語がたくさん出てきてるけど、多分、本質はさっきね、言ってた三段論法、すべての人は、すべての人間は死ぬと。人類皆死ぬと。で、2番目がソクラテスは、哲学者のソクラテスは人間であると。ってことは、ソクラテスも死ぬよねっていう三段論法が成り立つっていうことですね。よく、これは僕もなんか学校でちょっと習った記憶がありますね。Just a little bit.
Good. And one thing, in Japanese, you just said sandan nonpo, but it doesn't have to be only 3 steps. It could be more.
Like 4 or 5?
Could be as many as you want, as long as they all link to each other.
Depending on the situation.
Yeah. For example, I can say if I go to Egypt, then I will visit the pyramids. Okay. Well, then if I win the lottery, I will be at the pyramids, right? Yeah. So that's another syllogism because if I win the lottery, I will go on a trip. If I go on a trip, I will go to Egypt. If I go to Egypt, I will go to the pyramids. So if I win the lottery, I will go to Egypt. Yeah. I mean, sorry, I will go to the pyramids. And all of this goes in this one direction. Another thing that also means the opposite. Remember when I was talking about contrapositives earlier? If I don't go to the pyramids, that means I didn't win the lottery.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't want to make it complicated, but it's true. I just want to say that if these things can be combined.
まあ、その三段論法って言ってるけど、別にその3つじゃないといけないっていうわけではなくて、いろいろその階層的に、レイヤー的に増やしていくっていう、で、そのつなぎながら、その3つの証明を組み立てていくということは、まあ、可能ですね、という、ちょっと難しいけど、でも、非常に、シンプルに考えれば非常にわかりやすいというか、して、僕たちの日常生活にもすごくなんか役立てれる考えかなとは思います、非常に。
Yeah. And the very important thing about this one is if you have any one of these that is not true, then the whole thing fails. That's very important.
Okay. 一つでもなんかおかしいことがあったら、もう全部崩れていく。
So if let's say with the same one, if I win the lottery, I will go on a trip. If I go on a trip, I will go to Egypt. If I go to Egypt, I will go to the pyramids. I mean, I can promise you that, but you don't know that I'm really going to do that, right? Like, let's say I win the lottery, but I decide that I would rather buy a house than go on a trip.
Right.
Then I'm breaking that promise. So if I break that promise, then if I win the lottery, then I will go to the pyramids is not going to be true.
Nothing happens.
So you have to be careful. You have to look at all of the premises and ensure that they are. Make sure they're true.
Right. まあ前提は崩しちゃいけないっていう話を今しておりました。That's very true.
Let me give you an example that is going to be sort of applicable to life. So, if it snows, it's dangerous to drive. If it's dangerous to drive, I won't drive. If it snows, it's dangerous to drive. If it's dangerous to drive, I won't. Okay? Then if it snows, then I won't drive. That's a syllogism. But if it snows, it might still be safe to drive if you wear tire chain. Or if you put on snow tires, right? So if it snows, it's dangerous to drive is not necessarily a valid premise. So if it snows, then I won't drive is not necessarily going to be true. Does that make sense? That's what I want to say. I want to say that.
Yeah.
If you have a syllogism, if one of the steps is broken, then the entire syllogism won't.
Okay. Yeah. Doesn't make sense. Right.
Okay. Do you need to explain that?
It's okay. なんかさっきのその例、Yeah, go ahead. まあ一つ、
The important part is if one of the steps doesn't work, then the whole thing is not valid.
Right. 一つでもステップがおかしかったら、まあ全体がもう成立しないよねっていうことですね。
Yeah.
うん。
So let's think of another example of a syllogism, because syllogisms are very important, and we need to be able to trust them. In order to trust them, they have to.
Right.
I'm hearing an echo.
Right, I don't.
After I speak,
Oh,
I'm hearing the same thing from your end.
right. Is there a problem on your side? I don't hear.
Okay.
No.
I wonder if anyone else hears me.
今、皆さんどうですか？聞こえ方大丈夫ですかね？なんかね、ハングアウトはちょっといろいろ、環境によって、そして時間帯によって、ちょっといろいろエコーとか、なんかちょっとディレイが起こったりするんですけども、まあ、大丈夫。We have six minutes to go.
Okay, so here's another syllogism. Okay. If I don't drive, then I can't get to work.
Okay.
That's one premise. If I don't drive, then I can't get to work. If I don't go to work, then I won't earn money.
Okay.
So the conclusion is, if I don't drive, then I can't go to work. If I don't go to work, then I won't earn money. So the conclusion is, if I don't drive, then I won't earn money. That's a syllogism, right? Okay. But is that true? If I don't drive, then I can't go to work. Is that true? Or maybe there's another way to go to work.
By taxi or by train?
By taxi, train, yeah. Airplane, I don't know what you can use, right?
On foot or...
Yeah.
Excellent.
So it's not a valid syllogism because if I don't drive, then I can't get to work is not necessarily true. So originally I was going to connect all of these. If it snows, then it's dangerous to drive.
Right.
If it's dangerous to drive, if it's dangerous to drive, then I won't drive. If I don't drive, then I can't get to work. And if I don't get to work, I can't earn money. So if it snows, I can't earn money. Is that true? No, right?
No. You can't leave.
And it's wrong because even if it snows, you might still be able to drive safely. And it's also wrong because if you can't drive, you might be able to get to work in another way. Yeah. So that's what I mean. A syllogism can only work if every single step is correct. Yeah.
Oh, this is very interesting.
Yeah. Okay. How do we know that something is correct, by the way? This is a very... very important. Okay.
Yeah.
And the answer is actually that you don't really know.
Right.
And that's where what you were saying earlier.
Yeah, that's the hardest part. Right.
René Descartes.
What did you say?
You know Descartes?
What did you just say?
Descartes.
Descartes?
Yeah, the person Descartes, right?
Descartes, what's it?
Descartes is the person who said, "I think, therefore I am."
Oh, デカルトだ.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier. You said.
Right. Descartes.
Yeah.
I've never heard that in English.
Oh, Descartes. Yeah, that's
his name. Descartes.
Yeah, Descartes said,
yes.
"I think, therefore I am."
Yes.
Yeah. I think, therefore I am, and he noticed that is the only thing he can trust. Right? Because everything else out there is actually a hypothesis. Yeah. For example, let's say that we have this syllogism. We say that everything that goes around the sun. You have the sun, and everything that goes around the sun is a planet. That's the first definition.
Yeah.
The second one is the Earth goes around the sun. Right? So these two are true. And the third one is the result is the Earth is a planet, right? So if it goes around the sun, then it's a planet. That's the first one. The Earth goes around the sun, so the Earth is a planet.
Oh, that makes
But
sense.
everything that goes around the sun is a planet, right? That's a definition, right? Humans made that definition up. People made that up as a definition.
Right.
So of course it's true because that's how we defined it.
Right.
That's the only reason it's true is because we defined it that way. Okay. So what if our definition is wrong? Or what if nobody defines that? Then the result can't be true, right?
Sure.
Yeah. So pretty soon when you start thinking about all this stuff, you'll notice that everything relies on what people have defined. Everything is a definition or a combination of more than one definition.
Right.
All right.
Right.
Right. Or natural laws, like the Earth goes around the sun. That's a natural law, right? And to some extent, you can figure them out. So everything is either a natural law, which we don't know everything about, or it's a definition that we made up. Humans made up definitions. And natural laws we don't know. So how could we ever be sure about anything?
Right.
And that's how Descartes came up with that.
Yeah, this is the hardest part in our daily lives. Right.
So the important thing is to remember that everything is might not be true. But you can't live unless certain things are true, right? You can't just live assuming everything is false. You can't do that.
Yes. Right.
You have to assume that certain things are true, but you have to remember that they might not be true.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the important part of critical thinking is to think that everything you think is true right now might not be. That's just to remember that. That's the very important thing.
Right. This should be correct as of right now.
As what?
As of right now.
As of right now, yeah. I agree. So as far as we know, it's correct.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a very very important thing. As far as I know, this is correct. That's the best we can do.
まあ確かに、今その大村さんが言ってたのは、すべての物事っていうのは結局、今正しいと信じられてるけれども、それが正しいかどうかというのは、まだわからないこともたくさんあるという話をしてました。だから、すべての物事を正しく疑って、なんで正しく疑うかというと、正しく信じるために、僕たちはすべての物事はもしかしたら少しでも違う可能性があるかもしれないという見方を持って日頃生きていくことで何かこうね、we can judge what's going on correctly.
Even this show, if you watch the show, you have to think that maybe this is not true.
Or, these guys are not correct.
Yeah, you have to think that. You have to think maybe these guys are just, just full of it. I mean, that's okay to think that. But we are trying to show you how we think, and we are trying to show you that this is probably the right way to think.
Yes.
But don't just take our word for it. You have to think about it. You have to understand it, then accept it if you can.
Right. That's the point.
That's the point.
まさにだから僕たちが今言ってることすら疑ってくださいっていうことで。そうそう、本当にそうだと思う。
Right.
Very true.
And another thing is sometimes you actually don't have all the information you need. Right. Okay. Maybe you think you can trust us. And that's okay.
Right.
Okay. Let's say that you really trust me or you really trust Selen, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Like a listener,
I hope
right?
so.
So let's say that somebody really trusts the two of us. So even if they don't understand what we're saying, or even if they can't take everything apart, they'll say, I trust these guys, so let's just for now assume that what they're saying is true. And that's okay because we sometimes have to do that, right? As we're growing up, we assume that our parents are correct, right?
Right.
As we grow up, we assume that our teachers are not lying to us, right?
Kind of.
Okay? But we have to remember that that was an assumption. We have to remember that the only reason we trust these people. We only trust our parents, or we trust our teachers, or we trust you and me. The only reason we trust these people is because we decided to.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And we have to remember to come back later and question that.
Right.
Yeah. I think that's very important.
Yes.
So remember what information in your brain is stuff you thought about. Remember what information in here is temporary, like you're only believing this because of this. Remember what parts are for sure, what parts are not for sure. And be ready to change these around at any time.
Right.
That's very important with critical thinking.
Be flexible.
Flexible, yeah.
まあ、すごいちょっと難しい。どう言ったらいいの難しい。まあでも、何も疑うことなく、親だったり、先生だったりで信じてきた、その幼少期を僕たちは経て、なんかこう、いろいろ、なんかこう、ナチュラルにいろいろ、ね、信じてるものとかあるけど、やっぱり今一度思い出して、なんかこう、いや、これは本当に正しいのか、正しくないのか、で、こんな偉そうに喋ってる二人も、実は正しいのか、正しくないのか、すら疑って、で、それで、その結果、もし皆さんが、そしたら、まあ正しく言ってるかもと思ったら、You guys can trust us. というところに行き着く。That's conclusion, right?
Yeah.
非常に面白いですね。That's very interesting.
I think that's the most important part of anything I would probably say about critical thinking.
Yeah.
Is to remember what's fact.
Yes.
Remember what you know is true, and then remember what you know might be true. And then, like we were talking about with these syllogisms, every premise in this is going to be categorized into something you know for sure, or you know because this person was saying it. And then what happens is the minute you know that this person was lying, that whole thing collapses, right?
Right.
That kind of thing happens in your head, and you have to be ready for that. And when you're, you have to be ready to accept big changes in the way you think. Because it happens all the time. It happens all the time that, for example, they will find out that this particular substance they have been putting in your food all these years was actually a poison or something. Stuff happens, and then
that happens. Yeah,
it happens, right?
It happens.
And so everything that was built using that ingredient has to be removed from the market or something. And that's actually a syllogism. What's happening is they're saying, okay, this is safe, so we'll use it. And that is being removed, which means they have to change the product.
Right.
Everything that happens out there like that, like recalls. This recall, recall.
Recall.
Yeah. Like this car has this piece that's so they have to recall that, right?
Retrieve.
Yeah. And they find out because somebody, examines the piece, and then so we assume while we're building the car, we're assuming this piece is safe.
Right.
And then find out later that the piece is not safe. So then what do they have to do? The result is the whole car is not safe. That's a syllogism. The syllogism is this car has this piece, this car has this piece, this car has this piece. This piece is safe, this piece is safe, this piece is safe. And then when you find out this piece is not safe, the whole car is not safe. That's
interesting example. Like building a car.
Building a car.
そうね、車のそのパーツを組み立てて一つの安全な車を作るように、なんか一つでもね、それこそ前、高田のエアバッグがちょっとね、なんかこう危なかったリコールがあったみたいな、結局一つでもそのエアバッグが安全じゃなければその車っていうのは安全じゃなくて、結局ドライブすることが少しね、その命の危険に関わると。だからそういうことにもなり得るので、すべてのパーツを正しく組み立てて、しかも安全な車で人生という道をドライブしていこうという、そういう、
later on they can find out that that piece is unsafe, right? Like all these buildings that they built before have asbestos in them. No asbestos, right?
Right.
And they found out that asbestos causes cancer. So then they have to go and change these buildings, right?
Too late.
Too late. So that's another example. Is
Yeah.
they assumed that asbestos was safe, and then they found out it's not.
Mm.
Something like that.
Sounds like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
まあ、そういうことね。非常に今日は、ためになったというか、まさに、なんて言うんだろう、英語で考えるというか、ロジカルに考えるということを、僕は非常に経験をした思いでおります。皆さんはぜひ、ね、楽しんでいただけたでしょうか？ So, I hope you guys enjoyed. いつもね、この English Hangout 101は、We have no comments. オンエア中はなかなか皆さん多分真剣に聞いてくれてると思うので、あんまり質問とか、なかったですけど、もし、後でもいいので、ね、so you guys can ask him something later on Facebook or not on Facebook. Twitter. っていう感じで、いつでも質問いただければ、またキャッチアップしますんで、もしここ分からなかったとか、もしあったらぜひ聞いてください。
Alright.
That's right there.
Yep.
That's all today.
Everybody.
Yeah. I think today's topic was very interesting. I could learn a lot of things from you and what you said.
Right. But remember to don't blindly.
Yes.
Blindly, that's kind of nice.
Blind. そうね。Don't swallow as it.
Don't swallow it.
Swallow as it.
Yeah.
そうだね。ブラインドで盲目的に信じないでねって。僕たちも間違ってるかもしれないよっていう。ということで、今日のところはこの辺にしておきましょうか。
Yep.
So, also, do you have something to say or like any comments?
Not right now. I think I pretty much covered. Yeah, the don't blindly believe us. That's
right.
Today.
Yeah. And I think this is the last one for this year.
That's right. Yeah.
Right,
so after the new year, we'll do the next one.
Okay. この English Hangout 101 with Cats 大室さんとのハングアウトは、今年で言うと今日が最後ということになります。本当に大室さんとはね、発音のところから始まって、そして一旦全部発音を、さっき大室さんも言ったけど、またセカンドシーズンとか、次の何かあるかもわからないですけど、一旦発音の講座が終わって、今一緒に英語で考えるっていう機会を、一緒に大室さんと作ろうと思っていろいろやってます。なので、また来年もね、いろいろ面白いこと、そして皆さんの何か役に立つようなことを僕たちはシェアしていきますので、もし何かアイデアとかあったらぜひ教えてください。そしてこれからもどうぞ、大室さんよろしくお願いします。
Yep.
So,
Right. So thank you for listening, everybody.
Yes, 本当に。いつもこんな月曜日の遅くから聞いていただいてありがとうございます。また来年もぜひ大室さんと一緒にお会いしましょう。ということで、今日はこの辺で。では皆さん、良い週を。
Yep. Good night, everybody.
Yeah.